Hi folks, welcome to Stronger. Last weekend we began our teaching campaign called Choose Life. The core scripture of that is found in Deuteronomy 30, and we're going to read it in just a minute. What you see behind me is probably a very unusual backdrop for me to put on, and it's actually a picture of Hitler and his cohorts signing a kind of a treaty, I guess you could call it, taking the surrender of the French in the Second World War after they had conquered them with their blitzkrieg. Now, why is that up there and why is that important? I want to talk to you about a cycle today, a cycle of pain and how dangerous it is if we process pain wrong in our life, not just individually, in families, in countries. It's a key factor. So here's how this story, plays out. You've got in the First World War, Germany and Britain, and then the U.S. enters. Canada, of course, is very much involved in that war. And at the end of that war, there is what they call the Treaty of Versailles. It's signed in a railroad car in France, where Germany surrenders. And the terms of the surrender were very, very harsh. In fact, it ended up, interesting sidebar, was Woodrow Wilson, who was U.S. president at the time, was willing to actually be more moderate in what they would require from Germany. But he got ill and couldn't attend and was not a part of the final draft of this. In the final draft, the reparations that they required from Germany put Germany into a tailspin and took from them any kind of economic hope. It began to break down their society. Inflation ran at thousands of percent. It was a horrible, horrible mess because of what was demanded. And then what you see is a picture of approximately just over 20 years later, 23, 24 years later, when Hitler goes to the same railroad car and he gets France's surrender. Why did he do that? Because for him, there was such a wounding, and for the German people, such a wounding in the Versailles Treaty. In their humiliation of defeat, it was driven home, and the costs exacted from them made their recovery almost impossible as a nation. Where does that come from? Pain. Pain. They started this war. They basically, in the First World War, had initiated something. The response by the Allies was costly. Canada alone lost thousands and thousands of men in that First World War. The pain of it was horrible. But the aftermath set up a worse conflict that would take place just over 20 years later. Cycle. When we do not interrupt the cycle of pain, it's going to continue to get deeper and harder. And now we go into another world war, motivated, and the people are open to Hitler's vision simply because of the hardships that have been placed on them. They would normally, naturally have never gone after such an extreme fascist movement. But hardship pushed them down that way. Made them open to his message, recovering pride, recovering nationalism, their own identity again. So devastating had the pain been to their people that they bought into a worse type of ideology that cost over 55 million lives in World War II. You see, we think pain is something that it's just going to go away. It doesn't. It's either properly dealt with, or it's going to produce bad things in our life. Oftentimes we're choosing not life, but death. The disciples came to Jesus one time and they said, Jesus, how many times do I have to forgive my brother in any given day? Is 7 good enough? And Jesus said, 7 times 70. What's he saying? Infinity. You never quit forgiving. It doesn't mean that you go back to letting things be as they were. It means you move forward. You give a path of potential healing, at least even for yourself, if not for the others involved. When that is taken away, when all we do with pain is grow other things, then we're choosing death. Take a listen to the scripture. See, I set before you today life and prosperity, death and destruction. For I command you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commands, decrees, and laws. Then you will live and increase, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to possess. Short form, he's saying, you practice life the way I command you and have showed you to and teach you to, and my truth directs you to. I promise you, you will get life. It will increase. You will live and increase. If you let things take over your life that shouldn't, entropy, death is strengthened. Life is always a choice. Death is a result of not making that choice. Make the choice. Make things live around you again.